It's time for some Lord of the Rings book drama.
Book drama!
I've just heard about the new Lord of the Rings movies that Warner Brothers will be putting out starting in about 2 years, and my initial thoughts are they'll probably be fine. I don't really have a lot of hope for anything more than that. I mean, they've gotten the old band back together. You've got Peter Jackson and his writing partners Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens, and Andy Serkis is back, but I'm not really sure they've chosen the right story. The hunt for Gollum is a really, really small part of the story of The Lord of the Rings. It's basically just that Aragorn and Gandalf need to find Gollum, so they do. And then because he's really annoying and awful to be around, they're not especially inclined to be super polite to him. That's it. They're going to try to make 2 movies out of that. I don't know what they have the rights to, but after such a break from the original Peter Jackson trilogy, and after what else we've gotten in Rings of Power, I think that I would rather see them tell a story that just has a bit more action and interest and passion and something happening other than let's do a fetch quest to go find the most annoying guy in Middle-earth. Why not tell the story of Beren and Luthien? That's a wonderful story. Something like that has everything that we loved about the original Lord of the Rings movies. It's got romance, adventure, journeys over a landscape. I don't really care that much about finding Gollum. I already know what happens after they do. One of my friends said, well, I mean, at least we know this will be better than the Rings of Power. But my response to that was, well, that's like you telling me that you can make better Mexican food than Taco Bell. Like, the Rings of Power was terrible. It was objectively just a bad show. And then on top of that, it had nothing to do with The Lord of the Rings. It had the names of some of the characters, but nothing about it was the same, so we can't even consider it an adaptation. This, I know, will at least look and feel like a Lord of the Rings film. I expect that they'll do things with the music, the costuming, the camera work, so that it will blend with Peter Jackson's previous works. And we do know that part of the reason the Hobbit movies were so bad was that they were very, very rushed, and Peter Jackson's whole heart wasn't in the project. That really, really showed in the final project, which was kind of just trying to be Diet Lord of the Rings. They really changed the character of Thorin Oakenshield into kind of like Diet Aragorn, as opposed to the full character that he actually is in The Hobbit. It also did some other things that maybe weren't so bad. I thought it made sense to beef up the role of Bard. And then there were characters that just straight up didn't belong, like Stephen Fry's portrayal of the Master. It was strange and weird, and it didn't really add much to the story. This team has shown that they do know how to respectfully and creatively adapt Tolkien's material. They're able to take something that's written for the page and bring it to the screen. So yes, that does mean more action, it does mean more adventure, and it does mean that maybe there won't be lengthy sequences of singing. That's okay. It's a film, it's not a book. But at the same time, you can't always recapture the magic. The original Star Wars movies are some of the most important films ever made, and they really, really mattered to me growing up, and I still love them now. But Lucas just wasn't able to recapture the magic when he came back for the prequels. It had been too long. He was now rich and powerful instead of a scrappy young filmmaker from Southern California. Success can actually be a bad thing for filmmakers, and Peter Jackson is a filmmaker like any other. It's possible that this many years of being rich and influential might make it really hard for him to make a new film. You also have the problem of corporate meddling in filmmaking that's kind of become the norm in the last few years. You get a lot of studio notes. You need to have sort of an ethnic potpourri instead of distinct cultures with distinct looks that actually help build a more believable and more interesting world. There also don't seem to be very many films lately that have any decent romance in them, and that's a big part of why people go to the movies. They don't want to see real life reflected in their entertainment. They want to be transformed and swept away to somewhere amazing and different for a little escapism, so that they can forget for a few hours about their job or their kids or that giant pile of laundry that you haven't folded. I might be projecting there. So will it be good? I don't know. I give it a 50-50 chance. I want it to be good, and I hope it'll be good. But what do you think? Are you excited about these new Lord of the Rings movies? Do you think they'll be good? Or are they just going to be more corporate product? Let me know.